FLP traders, it is a short question but a good question, and it really tests whether you understand what reallocation method and cumulative catch-up method is all about. You are the newly appointed financial manager of FLP Traders. The entity is not registered for VAT purposes. Your appointment comes after a series of events at the entity which caused the owner many sleepless nights. There are two main problems involving the fraudulent contact of the previous financial manager, on which the owner would like to focus your attention on first. The first problem is due to the fact that some records were destroyed, and the second is due to theft. The following information has been made available to you. Problem 1. On 1 January 2011, the entity purchased a photocopying machine which was estimated to produce 200,000 photostat copies, so that's the total capacity, of its useful life with no residual value at the end of the lifetime. By the end of the 2012 financial year, 31 December 2012, a total of 22,000 photocopies had been made, bringing the accumulated depreciation as at 31 December 2012 to 11,000 Rand. At the end of the 2013 financial year, and that is the current financial year, new information came to light and the 2013 depreciation was recalculated based on the cumulative catch-up method. At the end of the 2013 financial year, the following new information came to light. It was determined by the supplier of the photocopier that it would only be able to produce 162,500 copies over its useful life. So capacity is no longer estimated at 200,000 copies, it's only 162,500 copies. The supplier informed you that the estimated residual value of the asset at the end of its lifetime is now estimated to be 2,500 Rand. No longer like there was no residual value, now we have 2,500. The previous accountant correctly recorded the 2013 depreciation based on the cumulative catch-up method as 7,600 Rand. Now, here they give us the depreciation after we've passed the adjustment entry based on the cumulative catch-up method, and that was 7,600 Rand. Now, immediately come to mind, you should know that the cumulative catch-up method, any depreciation charge in that specific year where a change of estimate takes place, is then consisting out of two components. The one is the catch-up component, where we catch up the sins of the past, and the other one is our actual depreciation for the year. The owner, however, prefers that any depreciation relating to the photocopying machine be corrected based on the reallocation method rather than the cumulative catch-up method. So now we have to put our thinking process in reverse gear. They gave us the 7,600 and they've told us that is based on the cumulative catch-up. But then they also tell us that it's no longer acceptable. We have to rework this calculation in order to get the depreciation according to the reallocation method. Now with the reallocation method, we need the carry value of the asset as at the beginning of the year. Now what do we have? We have total capacity, initially no residual value, and we have accumulated depreciation up to the beginning of the current financial year of 11,000 Rand based on 22,000 copies made. But we do not have anywhere in this question the cost price of this asset. They require from us to calculate the amount of depreciation that should have been recognized in the 2013 financial year if the owner's preference, if you've worked on the reallocation method, and you have to provide the necessary adjustment journal entry in order to rectify our depreciation, which was passed equal to 7,600. Good. So we need the cost price of this asset. Now, what is accumulated depreciation? They obviously use the production unit method, so that is cost price X less estimated residual value 0 divided by total capacity 200,000 multiplied by the number of copies up to the beginning of the year 22,000 and that whole computation equals the accumulated depreciation of 11,000 Rand. So we don't know the cost price, we have total photocopies, we have total accumulated depreciation. So we say our formula for accumulated depreciation is cost price less res value divided by total number of copies multiplied by the number of copies made for that figure that you're looking for there. So 11,000 up to the beginning of the year, cost price is X, res value is 0, 200,000 copies total capacity multiplied by 22,000 copies already made up to the beginning of the year, and that gives us a cost price of 100,000 Rand. Cumulative catch-up says, well, we have to start and reinvent the wheel completely since the date of acquisition. So at the beginning of the year under the old method, we had 100,000 Rand. Then accumulated depreciation of 11,000 Rand. So we sat with a carry value at the beginning of the year of 89,000. If we're going to redo the calculation since the acquisition date of the asset, we're again going to start with 100,000. Then we're going to deduct the new estimated residual value of 2,500, and we're going to divide it by the new number of, or the new capacity of 162,500. And that will give us then 60 cents a copy. How many copies did we produce up to the beginning of the current financial year? We have produced 22,000 copies up to the current financial year. So our price per copy, 60 cents multiplied by 22,000 copies gives us then 13,200 Rand, what we would like the accumulated depreciation to have been up to the beginning of the year. So catch-up says we have to rectify the sins of the past. How much accumulated depreciation is in our books? 11,000. How much did we actually want it in our books? 13,200. So therefore we're going to bump up our depreciation, accumulated depreciation, by debiting depreciation expense this year and crediting accumulated depreciation with 2,200 Rand, which is the catch-up. The total depreciation based on the cumulative catch-up method was 7,600 Rand. So although the total depreciation is 7,600 Rand, 2,200 of the 7,600 Rand equals catch-up. So that means that our actual depreciation charge for the year was 5,400 Rand. Now, what is our rate per hour? 60 cents per copy, 60 cents per copy. In total, it was 5,400. So 5,400 divided by 60 cents a copy gives us then a total of 9,000 copies that we've made for the current year. We need a number of copies made for the current year because remember we have to do now this whole calculation based on the reallocation method because that is what the owner wants in the books. So where does the reallocation method start? It starts with our carry value actually in our books at the beginning of the year, 89,000 Rand. Then on our carry value at the beginning of the year, we're going to apply our new estimates. Our new estimate for residual value, 2,500 Rand. And then they've told us, here's the new estimate value, total capacity 162,500, but remember up to the beginning of the current financial year, we have already made 22,000 copies. So the remaining capacity as from the beginning of the current financial year is not 162,500, but it is 162,500 less 22,000 copies. So that will give us a remaining capacity there, what is that, of 140,000. So that gives us now a new rate per copy, which is 61.566 or something like that. If we round it off to one decimal, 61.6 cents per copy. Now, how many copies did we make this year? 9,000 copies. That is why we had to work out the number of copies for the current year. What is going to be our depreciation based on the reallocation method? The 9,000 copies multiplied by our new rate, 61.6 cents, which gives us then actual depreciation that we want in our books of 5,541. how much depreciation do we in actual fact have paused in our books? We have paused in our books 7,600. There it is, 7,600 Rand in our books, which we have to rectify now. So the difference there is we want less depreciation in our books than what was paused of the difference between the two of 2059. So we are going to debit accumulated depreciation 2059 and we're going to credit depreciation of 2059. Remember the 7,600 is already in our books, so it's already lying there. We just have to pass the adjustment entry.